Well, there's been a lot on my mind as about a week ago from when I'm recording this. It was my birthday. Um, to give a proper timeline, it was July 3rd. No, right before Independence Day. And it really got me thinking now. It's like I turned 22. And everything about that just seems like nothing happened. Like time just seemed to pass. Like my birthday wasn't nothing special. In a sense where it's like, cool, blessings, everything like that. I got all of it. But at the same time, it made me realize, like, you know, not everything's just gonna drastically change. My whole world isn't gonna be flipped upside down, or I'm gonna come to a sudden realization, like, I'm a year older from last year. And it's a weird perspective, honestly. It's a weird perspective because it's like, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting in the idea that it's like, wow, time flies. And what it really gets me thinking about is like putting a time on when to do things, or even so, it's like allowing yourself to, just because a certain time passes, or you have to make everything seem right or align, make the stars align so you can start. And like, no, it's not about to happen. You start when you start, and you make progress over time. Because I remember hearing something along the lines of, I was talking to someone and they were saying, if I don't start on a Monday right at this time, I won't do it. And it's like, what? Like, nah, that was something you had on your list. Like, you should want to do it, right? Like, it shouldn't feel like a burden. But it's like, you don't have to have everything perfectly in plan, because not everything is perfect. Not everything is perfectly aligned. Not everything, goes the way you think it to. Because even so, if you think about like a conversation, right? You can't perfectly plan out a conversation. You can't. It may go this way or another way. And every single sentence has a different outcome. It can lead to a different path, or you can take it somewhere else. Because you can ask 5 different people the same question, and you're bound to get a different result, a different answer. And it's like, don't wait on certainty, because if you wait on certainty, it's never gonna happen. Or you're waiting for that right moment. You make that moment happen. You make the moment happen, and that's when we can say, I'm glad I took the chance. Because it's cool and all, having a sense of time frame of progress, right? You can say, oh, when I was 21, I did this is what I did. Or for 2023, I did all of this, or for 2025, I wanna do this. And it's like, it's cool to keep track. It's interesting, and you gotta acknowledge the fact that you're putting in work and everything like that. Acknowledging the fact that your efforts aren't wasted, and you may not see the results now, but they'll come into fruition over time. It's like you're sowing the seeds for a tree, and the tree, you won't see it for a while, but when it happens, it can grow big, strong, whatever. It's not instantaneous, it's not overnight, and better now than never. Better safe than sorry. Because think, safety, we take safety, right? It's an interesting concept, because it's like, you are given this sort of plan or rule set. You can be given it: go to college, do this, do that, achieve this degree. And it's like, you aren't necessarily guaranteed a job. You aren't necessarily guaranteed all of it. You could fail, and it's like, if that's something you truly want, then by all means go for it. But I'm just saying you're doing things out of the sake of pleasing people and trying to live up to other people's expectations. And that idea of safety. And I guess in a sense, it's like everything has its own risks. Everything has its own, things you have to look out for. And not to say you have to be worried or scared about it. I'm just saying everything has its own, things. Everything has its own risks. Getting into a car has a risk. Getting onto a plane has a risk. Applying to a job has a risk. And it's really just a level of, different levels of the risk, I guess you can say, but there's risk nonetheless. Like even just talking right now, there's a risk. I could be, made fun of, I could be praised, I could be whatever. There's a risk. Who knows what comes out of it? Who knows? And, I guess back to the whole thing that got my mind just started is turning 22, and it's like I don't feel any different than when I was 21. I don't feel like I'm supposed to act a certain different way. It's like I in a sense I'm constantly changing, right? Just because I'm allowing myself to change, and when I learn things, it's like I want to try and apply it, and little by little change happens. But even so, it's like it's not like I'm 21 one day, the next day my birthday hits and it's like, wow, I know so much more. Like, no, you're the one who has to make that change in a sense. Like, sure, that number changes, the age or whatever, the year, but it's like that doesn't necessarily change you. And it really gets me thinking, it's like a lot of things we just kind of wait for it to happen, or we expect it to change us in some crazy sense of, ourselves. Because, for example, like and just hear me out, because it's kind of like a random spin-off. But like when they announced, aliens are real, it's like 5 minutes before you knew that, it's like, okay, cool, you're living life. You found out 5 minutes after, it's like, what changed? Like, nothing really changed necessarily. You just kind of keep moving on about your day. Like that's really what it is. You just kind of keep moving in a direction that you want to take it. You just, whatever. It's whatever. That's really what it was to me. It's just whatever. And it's like, it's still weird sometimes though. Like saying I'm 22, like, wow. And it gets me reflecting, like, it feels like just yesterday I was in high school. It feels like I can just remember the time when I was just a kid, just playing outside, and it's weird. It's interesting, and I wonder how it would, like, even the concept of me just reaching like 30 or something seems so beyond me. Because it's like, how would I act? Who would I be at that time? And it's so fascinating to see like what we can do. Like, sure, we can say time passes by quick, but I say that mainly because we repeat the same things over and over. And it's like, when we were kids, we were constantly seeing new things, and there's so many things being created. But like, when we're older, we live the same kind of life with no sense of, difference. It's all familiar. It's all familiar, and we're just kind of trapped in this bubble. And the most memorable moments are, when that bubble pops, and it's like we kind of burst out. We just kind of go to some random thing, or we see something new, and it's like, that's the beauty in the mundane, I guess you can say. The beauty in mundane, just the random extraordinary things that happen, or even the ordinary things that seem beautiful. Nature, just seeing the sunrise, the birds chirp, the crickets, whatever they do, and just kind of just sitting here, and it's like, wow, life is here, and it's right now, and it'll always be that way. It's just moving about our own life. And You know, it also gets me thinking. It's like a lot of times we feel pressured that we have to have everything solved, we have to have everything figured out, and when in reality it's like sometimes we don't know, and it'll hit us when it hits us, because the single fact that we realize that like there's something we want to do but we still don't know yet, or we do know, it's like it's a process, and it takes time, because like I hate even just thinking about the fact like I wish I started this sooner, because it's discrediting the fact it's like I learned everything I learned for the reason right now. I learned it to lead me where I am now, and there's that sort of responsibility right there. It's like every single thing you did leads up to where you are now, and whether you like where you are now or you don't, you have the power to change it. You have the power to change your future and the power to change the future outcomes. You know, if it's within your grasp, within your capability, things you can do, then by all means, why not? Why not? Because what do you lose from doing it? What do you lose? Like, truly, you know, I'm not saying, you know, go gamble, or go, you know, go put a parlay in or something like that. No, I'm just saying, like, there's things people want to try, or things people want to, you know, are interested in, but they hold themselves back, and, you know, now is the only chance we have. Now, it's on now, and you don't have to beat yourself up, because it's like, okay, I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I knew this before, and it's like on many different levels, you know. But it's like, you may feel guilty. You know, I used to feel a bit guilty. It's like, wow, I wish I would have, you know, played soccer sooner. But it's like, you know, maybe I just wasn't ready. Maybe I just wasn't ready at the time. And I accept that. Like, I'm not gonna try and like logic my way around it. It's like the feelings there, the feeling, the thoughts, the thought. And it's like, I'm not gonna try and intellectualize, I don't even know if that's a word, but that idea, because it's like, you know, I have to feel the feelings. I can't fight the feeling in a sense, because it's there, and I don't want to, in a sense, just kind of betray myself in that sense. I don't know if the idea sticks, but it's like you're kind of clashing with yourself. But again, back to the whole original thing, time, and just, it's crazy. You know, it's always good to keep track of the work you're doing. You know, you may not realize the change or the progress you've made, because it all just kind of goes and goes and goes, and it's like this sort of momentum that builds up, like building, like pushing a snowball. Like, you know how you build a snowball, you put it in the snow and you just kind of roll and it gets big, kind of like that. It's like, you know, sure, maybe slow motion now, if we talk about motion, like it's slow motion now, but over time it just builds and builds and builds. And I think it's that experience that just comes with it. It's like the things you learn along the way, and the person who you become along the way and are becoming, that truly just makes you, you know, it's not the time, the place, the things people say about you, it's just you. It's just you. You know, of course people can play an influence in that. I can't deny it. But it's mainly up to you to decide how you want to be, or who you want to be, or, you know, anything like that, or what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you have the ultimate choice. You have the free reign to do whatever you do. If you have, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. I just want to leave it off there, honestly. Like, I don't know. I felt as if, you know, birthday happening is like, yeah. You know, it's cool. It was cool. You know, it's a birthday, another year of living. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't really necessarily change who I am. I guess in a sense it brings an awareness, like, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and that you're capable of changing and capable of growing and things like that. But other than that, it's like, oh wow. On that though, that's literally what I want to leave it at. I just kind of want to vent right now. Event, I guess. I don't know. But see ya.